This episode is brought to you by Global X. Since 2008, Global X ETFs has been committed to empowering investors with unexplored, intelligent solutions. Global X specializes in exchange-traded funds that offer exposure to the artificial intelligence ecosystem, including themes like data centers, robotics, semiconductors, and cloud computing. To learn more about Global X's entire suite of ETFs, from covered calls, fixed income, emerging markets, and more, visit globalxetfs.com.
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, the totally unsexy skill that makes it easier to go after what you want, by Sarah Von Bargen of yesandyes.org. When I was 32, I celebrated one of the biggest accomplishments of my life with a plate of nachos, a vodka gimlet, and a gathering of friends at my favorite neighborhood bar. Over a plate of melted cheese, we cheersed my upcoming 11-month 9-country trip. As the night wore on and more cocktails were consumed, one of my friends leaned across the table and said, "Okay, I'm just going to say what we're all thinking. How are you paying for this?" I laughed because of course Midwesterners have to get lightly drunk to talk about money. After I was done laughing, I spilled the beans. I told them how I managed to live sans roommate in a nice neighborhood, pay my $375 a month school loan, wear these cute leather riding boots, and save enough to finance this huge trip on $34,000 a year nonprofit salary. Want to know how I did it? I lived within my means. Well, that's wildly unsexy, isn't it? Whenever I share this not particularly exciting information, I can see people become A, skeptical, and B, disappointed. It'd be a lot more exciting if I shared a salacious investment tip or confessed that I had a trust fund, or that I was just putting it all on a credit card and hoping for the best. But that's not what happened. I got to take my dream trip because I did things like bring my lunch to work, buy pretty much everything ever secondhand, host potluck dinner parties rather than eating out, stay with friends when I traveled, or I camped, split Wi-Fi with a neighbor, go to matinee movies, used my library card, had picnics in the park, etc., etc., etc. And I didn't buy stuff I didn't need. When we talk about going after what we want, we usually talk about things like talent, luck, networking, and a tenacious work ethic. All those things are important, and they will certainly help you get closer to what you want, whatever that is. But I'd like to posit that one of the most underrated skills necessary to chase your dreams is learning to live within your means. What now? What does budgeting have to do with becoming an artist or a stay-at-home parent or opening a sanctuary for stray dogs or taking a round-the-world trip? According to a recent survey, the average American spends an estimated $697 a month on non-essential expenses. That's more than $8,000 a year. The mean income per capita in the U.S. is $48,150, about $24 an hour. That means the average American is working about 30 hours each month to pay for those non-essential purchases. Now, I'm not saying we should stop making every non-essential purchase ever. Of course not. I spend thousands of dollars every year on travel, pedicures, supper club dinners, and outfits for my dog. Dog outfits are not essential. But it's worth remembering that we pay for our choices with the lives that we lead, and all those non-essential purchases, they lead to less money in our bank accounts, which is longer hours at work, which is less time, money, and energy for the stuff we're really excited about. What if you dialed in those non-essential purchases by just 10%? Totally doable, right? I bet it'd be pretty painless to wear the same outfit to multiple weddings or bring lunch to work once a week. It's not hard to make a frozen pizza rather than having one delivered. Reducing non-essential purchases by even just 10% could free up 36 hours this year. Imagine what you could do with that. You could practice your stand-up set, launch your Etsy shop, work on your novel, or train for a marathon. And buying less you don't need might also mean you can drop the side hustle, the overtime, or the second job. Which means, I bet you can see where I'm going with this, you have more time and energy to pursue things that light you up. Now, any conversation about money should acknowledge privilege. Because of the realities of life in America, some people will have to take jobs they hate because they need the healthcare coverage. Some people really do need to work 60 hours a week in order to pay for the bare necessities. Not everyone has the time to wander the aisles of Goodwill, digging through racks of cheap secondhand clothing. Some people live in food deserts and they can't do a huge shopping trip and then meal prep and freeze 17 healthy, affordable meals that break down to $3 per person per meal. However, many of us, I'd hazard to guess most of us, could make one or two different financial decisions that would free up hundreds or thousands of dollars a year, which would free up the time and energy we put into earning that money. And we could put that time and energy into something we're really excited about. You just listened to the post titled, "The Totally Unsexy Skill That Makes It Easier to Go After What You Want" by Sarah Von Bargen of yesandyes.org, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
How about listening to the sounds of Istanbul? Beautiful, isn't it? But you can't discover the coolest city in the world just by listening. Check istanbul.goturkiye.com now and plan your Istanbul trip today.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay, thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
I like that Sarah mentioned privilege in this post, because one of my big aha moments when I first started cleaning up my finances was realizing how much I was wasting my privilege. I was living paycheck to paycheck for no good reason. I simply wasn't paying attention. Some people like to complain about personal finance basics, like living below your means, as if it's an impossible thing to do. And for some people in the world, it absolutely is. Financial literacy is not a solution for systemic poverty. There are people on this planet that are so severely disadvantaged that they don't have access to clean running water, never mind an opportunity to earn more money or reduce their expenses. However, I notice that many people complaining about privilege are doing so online, meaning that they have access to the internet, which is an incredible privilege. The level of privilege you are born into is beyond your control. But what can be agitating about privilege is when it's unacknowledged and/or wasted. If you are tempted to complain about someone else's privilege, I'd challenge you to consider the ways you're not acknowledging your own. And that's a wrap for another Thursday show. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.